welcome to Stock Talk. This is your host, Scott. Hope you had a good couple of days of trading. We're going to focus tonight on NVAX. We've had a couple of exciting days, and for any of you that have never been invested in one of these pharmaceuticals, they can get really exciting and sometimes scary. So we're going to take a look at the last couple of days of NVAX, talk about what's been going on, and just see if we can make some sense of it all. All right, so let's go ahead and jump over there to that. All right, so there's our portfolio. You see we did have about a half and half day today. The markets were up, and NVAX got hit pretty hard, and that's what we're going to talk about. So let's go ahead and dive into NVAX here. You can see they were down 12% today. All right. Okay, so we closed at 83.45, down $11.35. But let's take a look at what happened yesterday. As you can see here, we had been consolidating in this area here, and then through Friday we held up pretty good. Then Monday we came out, had a pretty strong day. Monday we actually, I think yesterday, got over $100 a share. I can't tell it right there, but we did. We got over $100, and then I was hoping today would be another good day, but you can see what happened to us this morning. We had an article come out by Reuters. We're going to look at that article here in just a minute and some of the rebuttals to that article. But you can see our day range today was 79 and 87 from the morning time all the way down. We got to that low of 79. So we did make a little bit of a comeback during the day, which was good to see. Volume was up, almost 9 million, normal 6. So, and most of that volume was in the morning, as you can see here. That's where our heavy volume was at. Then we had a little bit pick up towards the end of the day, and that's kind of been the pattern for them for a while now. But wanted to show you, if we scroll down here and take a look at what caused the issue today. Yesterday we had some good articles out there about. Let's see if I can show you some of those articles real quick before we get to the one that messed us up. So let's see here. Yeah, here's one. It said this was 4 days ago. Attractive entry points. And then we had another pretty good one out here. Buy your winners. For me, that's Shopify, NVAX, and C. So we had a couple good articles yesterday. We also saw where the U.S. funding to now cover study for NVAX for adolescents. So they've got more funding, I guess, for that, or what they had is going to cover some of that. So they'll be checking into that shot for adolescents. So that tells us the FDA, that kind of gives us a hint that the FDA is probably going to approve NVAX if they're wanting us to go ahead and do some tests on some other things. So that was kind of the thought process yesterday, I believe, and that's why the stock was going up. And then this morning, pre-market, actually about 2 hours before pre-market, for the market open, we get this article here from Reuters. NVAX underdelivers on COVID vaccine promises. And you'll see this one come out, and they talk about several things about, these deliveries are not going well. We got a hit job done by Politico months and months ago about manufacturing issues, and of course some of it turned out to be true, some of it was not, and this is kind of the same deal, I think. And so, but you see here they put this article out 11 hours ago, and then 4 hours after they put that article out, they had to do an update because they had some of their numbers wrong, and all they had to do is go look at a website, and they could have seen that the numbers were wrong, talking about deliveries. And when you're going to do an article, you should at least do your due diligence and check your numbers before you put the thing out. And this was quite a bit of difference compared to, I think it was like a couple 100,000 deliveries or something like that, and it was actually millions that have been delivered. So that's quite the mistake. So we're going to talk about some of that in just a minute. But get your numbers right if you're going to put an article out. This is, it's kind of like, being part of a big company and sending out an email with a bunch of bad numbers in it. So you don't want to do that. This is even worse. But that article came out. Of course, we were down in pre-market and got beat up pretty much all day and tried to fight our way back. and we did make a little bit of a comeback, but we're gonna take a look at that a little bit more. But I want to, as you can see, the big drip here. So made a big difference. So I wanted to talk to you, and I wanted to share something with you uh, about some of that article that one of the one of the people that I pay attention to. We did an article the other day with one of the people showing those status updates, and it showed deliveries and the number of deliveries. And one of those numbers that they get comes from the Indian website that shows how many products they've delivered. That's all this writer of Reuters had to do to get the numbers right, but they didn't do that. So today, when that letter came out, of course, that's the first thing people notice is that's not right, according to the Indian website. So that's what happened. And there's another people now. You cannot pay too much attention to the message boards in Yahoo. If you do, you're liable to sell your stock when you don't need to, because it's a mess when you get on there. So I mute a lot of folks that are just full of garbage, and I just mute them. That way I don't have to pay attention to them. They pop up again every once in a while. I don't know why, but they do. But I just keep muting them to keep the garbage out. And you can tell by looking at their profiles and how they react to things, that whether they're short or something like that's going on. And I guess they think they're going to make the stock price go up and down, but that has nothing to do with stock price on the message board. I promise you that. This is all big boys, and they play a rough game. And this has been a rough time with this one. But let me pull up one that I do pay attention to. Um, Let me see if I can get that up for us. But this person goes by Blue, the name of Blue, I think it's what they go by. So let me see if I can get this pulled up for us. Okay, so here's one of the comments he made addressing this article. So shout out to Blue, one of the very knowledgeable folks on that message board. There's a lot of knowledgeable folks, and you really just got to mute some of these folks and get them out of your way. But so he's addressing this Reuters piece that came out this morning, and one of the things they implied that manufacturing was still having a problem, and his comment on that is wrong. And of course he says, first, let me be absolutely clear that all product characterization issues have been resolved. So there were some issues way back about the how good the product was and whether it was being mixed correctly and things like that, I believe. So all that's been resolved. Otherwise, the European EMA, the UK MHRA, and the Australian TGA would not have approved the EUA applications. Now, these are just their FDA type outfits here. These are where you see the EMA, the MHRA, and the TGA. They're like our FDA. Okay, so they would have never approved these things if they were having those kind of issues anymore. Okay, all right. So the next thing that came up was a slow pace of vaccine deliveries, and he talks about there's a process there, two main testing steps by regulatory bodies that are beyond the manufacturing company and Novavax manufacturing. Okay, so they're beyond us. Once we manufacture them and ship them, it says first of all, the vaccines exported from India are tested and released by a government test facility. So they actually test those products again before they actually send them out. And so, second, once delivered, the local authority, wherever they're sending them to, will again test the products before releasing them for the general use. So that's both of these test and release processes can take time and are not controllable by Novavax or its manufacturing company. Okay, so testing itself will take a few weeks. So sometimes that's where these things are caught up at. It's in this testing process. They've been shipped, or they're getting shipped, but they're getting tested as they go out, or they're getting tested as they come in. So that can take some time, and it's out of our hands as far as the company goes. It says, for example, more than 25 million doses have been delivered to the Netherlands and Europe, which should about satisfy the requirement for 27 million doses in the first quarter of 2022. And I think in that article, you'll see some things that some of it's not been delivered or whatever. And of course, he's saying that 25 million have, and they, they should be through with that by the end of the first quarter. It says local authorities will need to test these vaccine doses before they are released. Again, uh, that's where we're talking about when they receive them, they got to test them as well. And he says, in fact, the Reuters piece says this: Dutch Health Authority (RIVM), which is tasked with clearing the batches, declined to comment on the reason for the timing, but said the vaccine will be available in March. So even in the Reuters article, they're talking about it being all this issue with the deliveries and things, but it's right here in the regulatory hands on the Dutch side. Okay, so nothing going on there with Novavax as far as that goes. So, but they did say they'll be available as March, so they have shipped. So it's not a shipment issue. All right. So that all issues concerning making a quality product at scale have been resolved and certified, he goes on to say. Delivery to customers involve regulatory operations beyond just making the product and beyond the control of the companies. Like this is our manufacturing company in India, I believe, and this is Novavax. So it's beyond us. That said, any such issues are limited to the startup process and will always work their way out. So again, what he's saying there is, this is all new. Novavax was not a company really of any kind as far as products go. I mean, they were a vaccine discovery and that kind of thing, but now they're actually making the products. They've got partners that are making the products. They're shipping the products, and the products are going through all these regulatory agencies. And this is not a flip of a switch and everything's lovely. I mean, but so what he's talking about there is, all this is going to ramp up to speed once they get used to getting these products in the door and out the door. All that kind of thing will pick up and get, more of a timing thing will work out in the end. So it's all a new process of making it, of testing it out before it goes out, testing it when it comes in, and those are all new processes that are being put in place. And once they work the bugs out, the stuff will flow a lot better. So that's what he's saying there. And this guy, I promise you, knows more than anything that person that wrote that article knows about. I promise you that. This guy's very knowledgeable. He knows all kinds of stuff, or she. I'm not sure if it's a male or female, but they know their stuff when it comes to vaccines. In the meantime, what is most important for the COVID vaccine, Novavax vaccine now, is the EUA approval by the FDA, U.S. FDA. So that's what we're waiting on. That's the next big catalyst, and that could come anytime now. Once that is done, the Novavax vaccine will be the vaccine of choice for a huge number of people going forward, and that's primarily because of the type of vaccine it is and the way it's made compared to the mRNA type vaccines. So that is the case of what's going on with Novavax. So you have to decide for yourself. Are you gonna buy into the fact that you got somebody that's writing an article? Just so happens on the day that after a good run up, we've come up from about what's below 70, I believe, all the way up to 100 yesterday. We've had a pretty good run, and all of a sudden we get an article on the same day that PFE Pfizer has some earnings results as well. So, and we, the timing's suspect. Some of the initial thing that went out was very suspect. They had to even update their own article. So you got to watch out for stuff like this, especially with pharmaceutical things. You got to think about this too. This is a new company going against some big pharma companies, and it's not going to be easy. And there's a lot of people that are have a chance to lose money or lose market share. So things can get really ugly and really nasty. I'm not saying that's what's happening necessarily, but you got to be, open-minded to things like that going on as well. I've seen too much like this over my 20-something years of trading that it's more than coincidence. So this is not a fun stock to be in right now. There's no doubt about that, and it's a hard one to be in right now. But this is, this is part of the process now. We got to stay focused on what's next, and the next thing probably is going to be the FDA. We'll probably get that before earnings, I would think, but it may not come before earnings. I sure hope it does. And then, of course, the earnings, and hopefully we'll get some guidance. And my hope today was that the company would actually come out with something like Blue did here and talk about some of those same things in the article. But, a lot of times a company is not going to address, they're not going to address articles that come out, especially when it had to be updated. you know, they could just let it speak for itself, I guess. And but I would prefer the company come out and say something and just put something out there and saying, hey, this is where we are. You don't even have to address the article. Just this is where we are on manufacturing, shipping. Everything's going good, or these are some issues that we're having, but we're working through them. It's just being transparent. Communication's the key, and so we'd love to see a little bit more of that coming from our PR department, and hopefully we'll get some of that maybe later tonight, or maybe even in the morning, or and they may have something that they're working on right now. Who knows? But that would be a good thing, and hopefully we can get something like that tomorrow. That would help us stabilize things. I think it got pretty stable today, though, so I'm not too concerned about it. Let's go back and just take a quick look at that before we close out here. Um, let's pull this one-day chart up just real quick. Yeah, you can see with the initial dip this morning, we held up pretty steady. Of course, it was a big fall from yesterday, but we held up pretty steady. Nothing crazy. This is where the worst time. This is usually the worst time in the morning anyway, kind of early in the morning, and then the rest of the day we held up pretty decent. So, and we're holding up in post market too. It looks like. Let me go ahead and refresh that and see if we got anything new going on. No, it's nothing right now going on. So that's a good thing. We will take it like that. And again, this is where we separate the boys from the men and the girls from the women. So it's not easy. This is not easy. And if you got some money in it, it's hard to watch sometimes. But think about what's going on with the company. Uh, Today, the market was up really good, so we were disconnected from the market for sure. And it seemed like we had gotten a little bit disconnected from the market when we were going up too. So that was good that we were kind of doing things on our own. Today, the stock was broke because of this article that came out. Now, the company's not broke. Again, if you look at what's going on with the company, it's not broke. The market was not broke today because it was up. But you can tell when the market was going up, we still did come back a little bit better when the markets were going up, and we were going down a little bit when the markets were going down. So we're kind of following the market a little bit, but what knocked us down today was the article, which broke our stock for today. So hopefully tomorrow we're better off. The rest of the week we're better off, and we can climb back up to where we were, and then we might close out with a decent week again. But we got some climbing to do after today. All right. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your week of trading. And if you've got some of this, just hang in there. If you don't, if you got a long ways to go, and you don't have to worry about, something tomorrow or the next few months, it's a good stock, I think, and I've got a good bit in it. So we are counting on it to come back. All right. Hope you have a great week. Of course, none of this is financial advice at all. You do your own due diligence, and this is why I bring these articles and things up to you, because I know a lot of you may not have the time, and so I pull some of this stuff up for you. So hopefully you can keep up with what's going on with your stocks if you own this. All right. Hope you have a great day. If you haven't subscribed, don't forget to do that. Click this button right here, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.